Hello, my name is Rashmi. I am from the Department of Criminology, Raksha Shakti University, Ahmedabad, Gujarat. Today the title of the module is Victim Support Services, National and International Perspectives. The objectives of the module are: number 1, to gain a better perspective on the concept of support given to the victims of crime. Number 2, to examine a number of national and international legislations that has taken a number of compensatory and precautionary measures for victims of crimes. Number 3, to understand the importance of such support to the victims of crime. Some of the prerequisites for this module are that students should have a prior knowledge of victimology, victimization, restorative justice, legislative frameworks for the support of victims and victim compensation. After completion of the module, you will be able to understand the status of victims, to get an overview of the role of victim support services, to examine the services offered to the victims and understand the international and national perspectives of victims support services. The status of the victim. Initially, when the scientific discipline of victimology was formed, the focus was on the relation between the victim and the criminal. However, after the 1970s, there was a shift in focus on the victim condition and the experiences of victimization. Around the same time, many international organizations also started to show great interest on victims' rights and protection, with the Declaration of Basic Principles of Justice for Victims of Crime and Abuse of Power, which was formulated during UNO's conference in Milan in 1985. Many other international texts such as the Committee on Crime Prevention and Control, Universal Declaration of the Human Rights, the International Covenant on Civil and Political Rights, and the most recent being the Basic Principles and Guidelines on the Right to a Remedy and Reparation for Victims of Gross Violations of International Human Rights Law and Serious Violations of International Humanitarian Law, also made guidelines to ensure respect for the victims. Few of these legal instruments are ratified by India, which advocates faster delivery of justice to the victims. In our country, victims' rights are not given as much importance as it deserves, and hence there have been changes at both center and state level to favor the rights and safety of the victims. The agents of the criminal justice system shall focus on ways of law and mechanisms that deliver social justice to the victims. Victims' role in the world of criminal justice should be recognized and acknowledged. Since the victim face blame and greater violation due to the attitude of the society at large, the establishment of victims' support services by both formal and informal agencies is important to provide assistance and also to help mitigate the sufferings of crime victims. Now we will look at the role of victim support services. The role of victim support services is very critical. Victims are a critical component of the criminal justice system, and hence respecting their rights should be prioritized. The essence of victim support is improving the quality of life of the victims which has been endangered by a criminal act. The roles of victim support services are as follows. Voice for victims. Supporting the victim should be acknowledged and their needs should be heard to build their confidence and satisfaction in the criminal justice process. Victim care. Victim care is essential in order to champion the task of representing the rights and needs of crime victims. Information sharing. Providing basic and general information to all victims. Every victim is entitled to know about their rights in a criminal proceeding. Creating awareness. Creating awareness about the plight of the crime victims helps to elevate the justice provided to them and in turn helps to lessen their victimization. Services for victims, restorative justice and assistance. Right to assistance and support is one of the rights of the victims of crime. Assistance in the form of necessary medical, psychological, financial and social assistance through governmental, voluntary agencies and community-based organizations shall be provided to ease their victimization and for redressal of their sufferings and woes. Restorative justice as a concept emphasizes on repairing the harm caused by criminal behavior. It comprises of 4 elements. Number 1, restoration, which ensures help and support to the victims of crime, irrespective of the apprehension of the offender. Restorative justice lays equal importance on both the offender and the victim and ensures that the offender compensates for the loss or injury suffered by the victim. Number 2, accountability. Accountability on the offender's part to accept what he has done, also make amends to the victim and the community. This facilitates in making the process of overcoming the trauma and sufferings of the victim easier. Number 3, community protection. In the form of providing opportunities to the offender to give back to the society and also to reform oneself. For the victim, this helps him to get back on his or her feet after being victimized and move forward to overcome the crisis of crime. Skill development in the form of vocational skills training to help in restoration and rehabilitation. Now we will look at the international perspectives. The UN Handbook on Justice for Victims has outlined some guidelines for victim support and assistance in the criminal justice processes and compensatory relief from the offender and the government. The main objectives of the program are stated as follows. The government and voluntary social services organizations should come forward to assist the victims of crime in their restoration and rehabilitation. The services offered to the victims should not only be limited to the immediate injury or harm, but also extend throughout the aftermath. The effects of crime on victims should be recognized and given due importance, and the role of the victim in the criminal justice process should be expanded rather than being just mere witnesses. Community support should also be developed and strengthened in order to effectively provide services to the victims. The unique needs of victims should be appreciated by the criminal justice system. The United Nations has suggested the establishment of various formal or informal advisory groups, which has an understanding and knowledge of interest of crime victims. This advisory group must be truly representative and include professionals, academicians, and representatives from police, prosecution, health, psychologists, and people from the locality. The functions of the advisory group may include collect information regarding incidents of victimization, conduct interviews and surveys with victims of crime, start measures to provide redress and relief to the victims on the basis of assisting the victims to solve their problems and participating in the criminal justice system to work for the victims. The types of services provided in victims' assistance cover a range of services such as support during the investigation, procedures, criminal proceedings and trial, counseling and crisis intervention to help the victim overcome, and lastly advocacy so the needs of the victims are not overlooked by the criminal justice system. There has been considerable progress in India as well as other nations after the adoption of the Declaration of Basic Principles of Justice for Victims of Power, Abuse and Crime in 1985. Government agencies and lawmakers shall work on the lines suggested by the World Society of Victimology and the United Nations in the Handbook on Justice for Victims. The constitutional and human rights of the victims should be safeguarded, and since victims are the first-hand witnesses to a criminal event, their needs should be recognized. The rights of the victim should be strengthened so that their victimization is reduced to a great extent. In the mid-1970s, victim witness programs began, which emphasized to encourage the role of witness cooperation in the filing of criminal charges as well as testifying in court. These programs also included a witness notification and case monitoring system and information regarding specific trial hearing dates, negotiated pleas, and trial outcomes. Services offered by these programs include crisis intervention to help the victim overcome after the victimizing experience, 24-hour hotline to assist the victims or witnesses via telephone, assistance with the court process, as well as completion of victim compensation forms. The following section will cover victim support services in the international perspective as well as various countries. In the European Union, a legislation concerning the rights of victims of crime was created, which provides a new level of standards that all EU member states must fulfill in relation to victims of crime. All victims of crime must have access to information, support, and protection and other rights and services in the aftermath of crime. The services shall be provided by professionals in a dignified and respectable manner to help the victims in their recovery. One of the instruments is the Directive 2012-29 EU that establishes minimum standards and safeguards to aim for protecting and supporting victims of crime as well as family members of victims killed by a crime. Europe also has a scheme known as European Convention on the Compensation of Victims of Violent Crimes. Although the Act does not define compensation and states that compensation shall cover at least the following items: loss of earnings, medical and hospital expenses and funeral expenses, and as regards dependents, loss of maintenance, the National Umbrella Organization dedicated to expanding victim services in the United States called the National Organization for Victim Assistance, also known as NOVA, was established in 1975. It provides information and technical assistance for local and regional victim assistance programs. In 1988, Office for the Victims of Crime (OVC) was formally established through an amendment to the Victims of Crime Act. OVC is an important resource organization for providing assistance regarding the rights and needs of crime victims. It also provides funding to all 50 states throughout the operation of the Crime Victims Fund. Fund is usually collected from a variety of sources such as criminal fines, bail bonds, and penalties. The United States Congress enacted the Crime Victims' Rights Act in April 2004. This is a federal act that formed the basis for many state legislatures to expand the rights and services for victims of crime. Following rights of the victims are identified. Victims should be protected from the accused. Victims should be reasonably heard. There shall be accurate and timely proceedings. Full restitution shall be provided by the law. There shall be no unreasonable delay. Victims shall be part of public proceedings. Victim compensation in the United States is handled in various ways such as victim assistance programs, victim offender reconciliation programs, probation supervision, and court-based employment programs. In 1965, California was the first state to establish a statewide Victim Compensation Program, followed by New York, Hawaii, and Massachusetts. These programs provide financial assistance to the victims for the injuries sustained and other crime-related medical expenses. After 2000, they also included reimbursement from mental health, treatment, and counseling. The Manitoba legislation in Canada focuses on granting compensation to victims. It is named the Victims' Bill of Rights. It is divided into different parts that addresses different aspects. The first part depicts the Declaration of the Victim's Rights. The victim is entitled to all the services mentioned under the Act. The victim shall be provided with access to information of medical, financial, housing, counseling, legal, and emergency services. If a victim of sexual offense requests to be interviewed by the officers of same gender, it must be ensured that request is accommodated. Legal aid services and right to free and independent counsel are also provided under this Act. Victims of Crime Act 1996 were enacted by Canada. The Act provides that victims of crime should be treated with compassion and dignity. Their rights should be preserved. They should have access to all the information regarding the court proceedings and trial, services such as medical, legal, and mental health assistance. They should immediately receive financial redressal for the harm or injury suffered due to the crime. Victims and their families should be protected and safeguarded from any kind of harassment. Victims are also entitled to prepare a victim impact statement which shall be taken in consideration while awarding sentence to the offender. Victim impact statements were first introduced in the United States in the mid-1970s. This allows the opportunity to have the victims' voices heard during the court proceedings. The Criminal Injuries Compensation Act, currently known as the UK Act, was enacted on 8 November 1995. It includes provisions for providing compensation to persons who have sustained criminal injuries. The amount of compensation is determined by the nature of the injury. This Act deals with administrative issues and how a compensation scheme shall be prepared and administered and from where funding shall come from. Australia has two recent legislations on victim assistance. One is Victims of Crime Assistance Act 2006, which provides financial assistance to victims of crime. Compensation is available for pain and suffering, loss of enjoyment of life, loss of income, medical expenses, and other incidental losses. A victim assistance fund has been established and the monetary assistance is provided within 28 days from the date of notice. Other legislation is Victims of Crime Assistance Act 2009, which provides both financial and non-financial assistance to the victims of crime, in order to help them recover from the experience. The Act ensures that the victim is always provided with the necessary information related to health care, financial assistance, counseling, and legal assistance. It also ensures fair and equal treatment to all the victims and providing timely information all throughout the stages of investigation and trial. Now let us look at the national perspective. In response to the UN Declaration, in India, the Code of Criminal Procedure was amended in 2008 to widen the definition of victim as contained in Section 2WA of the Code. Gradually, there was implementation at both the center and state level to frame victim compensation schemes. This led to the enactment of Section 357 in 2009 during the amendment of the Code of Criminal Procedure 1973. The Indian Society of Victimology was founded in the University of Madras in August 1992 to set reforms in the criminal justice process by focusing on victim justice. In the subsections 1 and 3 of section 357, power is vested in the trial court to award compensation to victims of crime. The compensation may be for cost, damage or injury suffered or loss caused due to death or monetary loss incurred due to theft or destruction of property, etc. Section 357A envisages victim compensation scheme, where every state government shall prepare a scheme for providing funds for the purpose of compensation to the victim or his or her dependents who have suffered loss or injury as a result of the crime and requires rehabilitation. The state or district legal services authority is given the responsibility to determine the compensation to be paid to the victims. Other legislative frameworks regarding compensation to victims of crime include the Probation of Offenders Act 1958 and the Motor Vehicle Act 1988. The Indian Constitution in Part 4 of the Directive Principles of State Policy in Articles 32, 41, 136 and 142 and Part 5 of the Fundamental Duties in Articles 51A also lays down the duty of the state to secure the right of the public assistance in cases of disablement and to have compassion for living creatures and develop humanism respectively. Some of the landmark judgments of the Supreme Court ensuring restorative justice to victims of crime are as follows. Rudal Shah versus State of Bihar, where the court awarded Shah compensation of Rs 30,000 on account of violation of fundamental rights. This was an interpretation of Article 21 that imposed a duty on the state to protect the liberty of an individual citizen. In Delhi Democratic Working Women Forum versus Union of India, the court directed the central government to pay Rs 10,000 to each rape victims and also under Article 38 of the Constitution set up the Criminal Injuries Compensation Board. In Bodhisattva Gautam versus Shubhra Chakraborty, the court ordered the accused to pay an interim compensation of Rs 1,000 per month to the victim of his crime during the entire trial proceedings. In D.K. Basu versus State of West Bengal, the judgment laid the foundation of awarding compensation to victims of police atrocities. It also formulated means to ensure accountability of those responsible for such occurrences. Now, various states have adopted their own victim compensation scheme. For example, states like Arunachal Pradesh, in accordance with the Section 357, have framed the scheme for providing funds to the victims of crime and his or her dependents who have suffered loss or injury as a result of the crime and require rehabilitation. Under this scheme, the state government shall provide funds, grants, allocations on recommendation by the State Legal Service Authority to the victims under the compensation scheme. Similarly, the Victims Compensation Scheme of New Delhi 2011 applies to the victims and their dependents who have suffered loss or injury as a result of the offense committed. An international association called the South Asian Society of Criminology and Victimology, SASCV, was founded in February 2011 to promote criminological and victimological knowledge in South Asian countries of Afghanistan, Bangladesh, Pakistan, Bhutan, India, Nepal, Maldives, Sri Lanka and Bhutan. The SACV seeks to initiate measures in the criminal justice process that are victim friendly so that the needs and rights of the victims are catered. Since criminal victimization can have a serious impact on the victims not only financially but also emotionally and psychologically, the support that victims assistance programs provide to the victim should also focus on the psychosocial support that each victim needs. In India, National Legal Services Authority is a government organization that provides legal assistance to the weaker sections of the society. It also creates awareness among citizens and lawyers about the availability of services for people belonging to low socio-economic background. Countries such as Australia and United Kingdom have already established counseling services for victims of crime. This support programs not only provides information regarding court proceedings but also assist with dealing with anger, depression, trauma and loss of mental health care support. Other countries such as Singapore and Japan also have provisions for counseling and psychological assistance as part of their victims assistance programs. Victim support services ensures that there is access to justice to all victims of crime. The rights of the victims have been globally recognized as an essential part of the criminal justice system. The sufferings and plight of the victims need constant attention, and in order to help them overcome from the experiences of victimization, the state or the government has the duty to provide assistance and support in the form of compensation and other necessary medical and legal aid. There have been a number of international as well as national level policy frameworks to provide assistance to the victims so that the criminal justice system is not only accused oriented. These legislations are important to safeguard the victims' rights and needs. Victim support services are also crucial for the upliftment of the victims. Thank you for watching. I hope the module has been helpful.